Hey, everybody. Hello. Welcome to the show. It's time for the craft hour. It's a Saturday. It's time to have fun, and you're here, which makes it even more special. I'm so glad to have each of you. Welcome to the show. It's time for the craft hour. Gosh, we're going to have a good afternoon because it's one of those moments where I have absolutely wanted to meet our guest today. I think that we see her name more than we necessarily get a chance to talk to her. So it's going to be super fun to have some time with her. You're watching the Craft Hour. It's Pinkfresh Studios, and it is time for us to create and connect with each of you. Create and connect. What do those two words mean? Create, we're going to do plenty of that. Connect, how do you help us? You help us by engaging. Take a moment and have a few minutes to share that you're watching the show with us. The more people that contribute and connect, the more things that we can do on YouTube, the more things we can do to connect with you. That's the whole point of this social media channel and the reason I join you on Saturdays. And hey, thumbs up. I want to get a lot of thumbs up going. And then one last thing from a housekeeping perspective, if you're new around here, tell us about it. Hit the letter N. And if you're here for today's guest, well, you'll add the letter E. And we'll get started. Hey, Carol, so glad to have you join us. Carissa, thanks for all your support the past couple of weeks. Been talking to you offline. It's always good to see you. Sue Rose, I'm glad that you're experiencing a lunchtime with us. That's awesome. Barb is here for our guest, which is great. Gosh, it's good to see everybody so far. It's going to be a great Saturday. Today's card is one of those that are masterfully connected to the artist who did it. So let's take a moment to let her join the show and have a little bit of fun with us. Please welcome my special guest today, the very talented Emily Midgett. Hi, Emily. She's on mute. We're going to get your camera to flip to the side one more time. You went portrait on me, so we'll fix it. And I'll say hello. There we go. And just unmute yourself and we'll be all set. Perfect. Hi, friend. Welcome to the show. Hi. How are you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I think, that's on my end. Try one more time.
I see
Can you say
myself
hi?
sideways.
Yep. You're good. You're good. We can hear you now. Tell me a little bit about the fact that you signed up to do the craft hour. How are things going?
Oh, I've enjoyed watching them before. And I love getting the kind of behind the scenes look with the different artists and everything. And so I'm not super techie. So it was kind of it was a little nerve wracking for me to say yes, but I'm really excited to be here. And I'm really glad you guys invited me.
Well, we're so glad to have you. So listen, I will tell you that I'm having just a little bit of audio on my issue, but Emily, I assure you it's nothing to do with your end. It's something that I'm not muting. So stand by for just 2 seconds and I'm going to fix that so that I don't have to hear the show in my ear. Stand by, everybody. I think it's because, yep, there we go. Hey, everybody. When you have the show playing in your ear, all you hear is the show in your ear, plus Emily talking at the same time. Emily, again, you're doing nothing wrong. Your camera and sound are solid. It was double playing in my ear. Everyone, welcome to the Craft Hour. No, I know exactly what's going on when it comes to what it must feel like on your end. So tell me, you wanted to do the show, and people definitely see your name in the upper hand corner of Pinkfresh Studio products. But how did you get started with Pinkfresh specifically? And then later in the show, we'll go into some of your background. But do you remember your journey with Pinkfresh?
Well, I was invited to be on the design team a few years ago, and I had to take a little bit of a break when I got pregnant with my babies. And so we kind of took a little bit of a break, but then I started drawing. And so now I'm doing some illustrating and joining for releases occasionally and things just as time permits. And hopefully I'll be able to do some more in the future as my babies get older.
Sure. And let's go ahead and reveal that for those that may not know Emily's personal life. The babies is definitely something to underscore and put in neon letters. Let's talk about the journey with the first two. 7 years ago, what did you say?
They're almost 8.
8. So 8 years ago, you had something happen. What happened?
I have 8-year-old twins, boy and girl. And then,
as you do, no big deal. Already starting your life with 2 twins. And then what happens?
And then unexpectedly, we had a second set of twins. They were born right at the beginning of the pandemic. So it's been a little bit of an adventure over the last 18 months, to say the least.
So can we all just take a quick moment for Emily and just give her the biggest mama high five, power shout out, the reason that women should run this world, the fact that she's doing it twice, now 4 times. And by the way, during a worldwide pandemic, ladies and gentlemen, and making a bad boss career for herself at the same time. So super high five to you, my friend, for being an amazing creator, as well as designer, as well as an awesome mama. That's awesome,
Thank
my friend.
you. Thank you.
Yeah. What would you say to all those mamas out there? What would you say that you've learned for sure over these 18 months before we get started?
Oh boy. You're doing your best. Your best is all that you need to do. And if you need a little bit of an adult beverage at the end of the day, do not deny yourself that.
No blame, no shame in that game.
Nope.
I mean, you are
doing
surviving every single day, right? Before we head over to the card, let's say hi to everybody who's joining us. A lot of people are joining. Put E for Emily if you're joining Emily Midgett today. If you are here for her, if you're new to the show, hit us with an N. Be sure to create and connect by sharing the link to your friends. Our friends from scrapbook.com are here. We're always so glad to have them join. Cheryl, oh my goodness, you're going to be on the show, my friend, one day. Lean Crafty Cards by Cheryl. Liz Hall, Miss Horowitz is here. Kathy K. Hi from Massachusetts. Hi, Massachusetts. We're so glad to have you. So many of you are here already. Let's get those thumbs up rocking if you don't mind. There's 91 of you, so I would love to see 91 thumbs up. And so many E's. Yeah, so many friends who know you so well. So you're in safe hands. Hi, Heidi. We're so glad to have you here. Chantel is here for Emily. And Cheryl says no judgment here. Good. Because I will say, when you're with the person who created the design, there's a little extra bit of stress. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little bit tensed up about doing one of your designs live in front of you, but I figure if you're walking me through it, everything will be great. Before we head down to your desktop, will you show us the card where we're headed today? What are we making today, my friend?
I lost it for a second. Here's the project that we're making. I did a little teeny tiny sneak peek on Instagram and my stories. I don't know if it's backwards, hopefully not my camera.
No, you're good. You're good.
But we're just going to do some stenciling and some white on white, which is one of my favorite things to make flowers pop. So fairly simple. You'll be fine, Jeff, I promise.
I know, especially with you at the helm. I'm going to go ahead and take you off camera. If you could go ahead and take a minute to mute yourself, and then we're going to get you to flip your camera to your desktop and we'll get the show started. Hey, friends, you're watching the Craft Hour. So glad to have you join us. You know, it's a big deal for me to be able to have Emily Midgett on the show today. I hope that you're going to have fun getting to know a little bit about her background as we create one of her creations with one of her designs, which is a really awesome deal. Don't forget our moderator in the sky joining us today is Heather Hoffman. Congratulations to both her and Leah. I hope you caught their World Card Making Day video, still available on YouTube. And it was a good time hosted by them both, which is awesome. So many of you are joining. Chantal, thanks for sharing on Twitter. Kathy France, you're going to love today because stenciling makes everything easier, and it really will bring Emily's designs to life, which is going to be perfect for today's episode. Let's go ahead and bring her back into the show, and I will put it on gallery view and we'll get started with today's episode. So Emily, where do we start our journey in order to get the most efficient time out of our hour together today for this card?
So what we're going to do first is do some embossing, some silver embossing. I have this is the Best of Everything stamp set. This is a stamp set that I designed. It's got a really large, intricate floral image. So it's really easy to make it look fancy, but not have to do a ton of work with the stencils because the image is super detailed. And so you don't have to do a whole lot of work, especially with the combination of the stencils. So we're just going to heat emboss this really quickly, hopefully really quickly.
Right. Panic not, it'll be fine. Let me get my microphone over here a little bit so y'all can hear me better.
I'm just treating this with anti-static powder, and then we're going to hit it with some embossing ink.
So Emily, you of course are known for your images over a wide variety of things, but floral tends to be one of your styles. And during rehearsal today, you knocked out the name of the botanical that we're working on, And you said it with ease, like you just say it every single day of your life. Meanwhile, I had no idea what it was. Tell me about your relationship with floral, flowers, and botanicals.
Um, well, I have basically a black thumb. I am not um, very good at growing things other than children,
Okay.
apparently.
Yeah.
And so my way to kind of combat that was to start drawing them. If I had my option in another life, I probably would be a florist, just because I love flowers so much. But I get a lot of inspiration from wedding photography, wedding flowers. And so I've kind of along the way just kind of picked up the names of the different flowers, and hopefully I draw them so that they're recognizable.
Right. So let's go ahead and get into that conversation about you and drawing. It certainly didn't come during the pandemic. You must have been drawing for some time.
I'm going to zap this with my heat gun really quickly.
Oh, great. And
So
friends,
I don't know
I
if you
am
can hear
catching
me
up.
over that.
No, you're good. I'm going to go ahead and add in some Brutus Monroe Sterling, my personal jump for all dudes craft too. We love Brutus Monroe, and I think that their embossing powders melt unbelievably well. So that's what I'm doing. And I will tell you, I was about to say this when Emily was showing the card. I, of course, thought the card was pretty because we've seen Emily's design, but I will tell you that the minute that you saw it kind of in the glimmer of the powder after it had been melted, it really does change the game as far as bringing the dimension of the flowers to life. So great technique, definitely gives it a great structure around the flower, which
here we go.
Helps us.
There's nothing
build,
like
right?
embossing powder.
Yeah. All right,
It's
you're gonna
magic.
have to cover. You're gonna have to cover for me like I covered for you. I'm about to heat her up.
So
and people always ask, I don't do coffee filters. This is a hot dog holder for when you're having your favorite cookout. I think it works just as well, but in case I think some people are asking, that is not a coffee filter.
Awesome. So now what we're going to do is, well, I guess let's wait for Jeff. I started drawing flowers right before my kiddos went into kindergarten. I picked up a book at a craft store that had how to draw flowers on it. And I kind of just was dabbling a little bit. And to my surprise, I had never really thought I could draw before, but I was like, hey, I'm not horrible at this. And so I just kept practicing, and it kind of, one thing led to another, and was just sharing my designs on Instagram, and Kinnery reached out and said, I didn't know you could draw. I want to buy this. So it was just kind of I think it was a little bit of fate. I feel like I finally know what I want to do when I grow up, and draw flowers and be a stamp illustrator. So I'm really grateful that I get to do this for a job. That's just unbelievable to me. I get to have fun while I'm working, which I feel kind of bad that some people don't enjoy their jobs, and I love mine.
Right. Mine is taking just a little bit to heat up, so sorry to have you talk for so long. You did awesome, by the way. I think that I had the assumption that you had been doing these designs for so long, and it sounds like this was a lot more recent than I ever gave it credit for.
It was a very recent development. It just kind of all happened at once. And I hope, I like to think that I'm improving. I look at my drawings from, just a couple of years ago and the drawings that I'm doing now, and I'm hoping that there's an upward curve, that I'm improving from the ones that I did originally. But it just all kind of snowballed on me.
Yeah.
Which I'm totally grateful for.
Yeah. Whether we call it the universe, whether we call it, the God's hand, whatever it may be, it is incredible to me that while we had so much tragedy during the pandemic that we definitely can't ignore, isn't it great when silver lining stories like this come out? Something that you were challenged to do in a situation that none of us thought would happen, and yet you made the boast of it, and then it is so powerful that you would even call it something you want to do when you grow up. That's incredible.
It's been a wonderful journey, honestly.
Awesome. All right, so as you can all see, you're watching me slowly heat, and I promise I have level 2 going here, but so make sure that got nice and dry. I think we did. Okay, there we go. We are also going to be fussy cutting this lovely little lady as well. So worry not that I didn't get the full image. There is some method to our madness when it comes to this. Now, stencils help us so much. It brings everything into the frame, but makes it a lot easier. So what we're going to do today is bring out our stencils, but Emily has a great tip about how to bring the color story to life in a different way by the order that you do the stencils. What you got for me, Emily?
Well, I like to work by color. Pinkfresh has very, very helpfully labeled each of the stencils with the numbers at the top. You've got them just very lightly etched up in the corner. And they have these little brackets around the edge that would, if you were not using the stamped image, those brackets would be perfect for you to be able to line up your stencils perfectly. But I like to work by color. That's just kind of how my brain works. I do one flower at a time. So what I am going to do is put the base layer down, and then use the stencil that coordinates with that base layer to add the shadows. These stencils are so great because you can get a really huge impact from just a little bit of work. You don't have to do a ton, which I mean, watercoloring and Copic coloring, those are my bread and butter. I love just sitting down and coloring these images to death. Basically, I will sit there for hours and hours just trying to add as much shadows and shading as I possibly can. But these stencils really just take the work and cut it in a third, basically. So we're going to I do have a little bit of a technique-y portion for you. I am going to, not this stencil, the second set of stencils. This first one, we're just going to do everything pink. The poppy, the rose, and the berries are all going to be pink. So we're starting with ballet slipper. And this is just a blending brush. It's from Hero Arts. And I'm just going to lightly blend this real pale pink.
Awesome. And I'm still with you, my friend. I know that I was quiet, but you're giving such great information. I wanted to make sure that everybody got it. And so I'm pinning down, and you said we're on 2, and that's the reason why we have these large spaces. So I'm just now catching up to taping down my stencil. So you're doing great.
Oh, I meant to mention that. One of the tips that I have is I know some people really like to use like the light tack adhesive spray for stencils. I don't. That's more mess than I want to deal with. I have enough messes to clean up. And so I find it just as easy to tape down my stenciled or my stamped paper to my work surface. And then I tape each individual stencil over the top. So that just means I'm just pulling the stencil up and putting the next one down instead of having to worry about going and washing them each time. Because that's just too much.
Yeah. A couple of questions about your learning and the process. Any book recommendations as far as what you grabbed on that first time?
You know what? I don't even remember which book it was. It was a book that I found. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the name of the craft store. It's one of the big box craft stores. Okay. It was on an end cap, and I used it for a couple of weeks and then was like, I don't think I need this anymore. And so I just started using photos from Pinterest as inspiration. The book kind of gave me a kind of a reference on, or not a reference, kind of a starting off point on
jumping off point. Yeah.
Where to start with each individual flower. It kind of gave me the theory behind it instead of having to copy specific flowers. Sorry, I had to stand up to get my stencil lined up.
Would you recommend on this ballet slipper a heavy hand, or do you want me to keep it light for the artistry of the flower?
I kept it kind of minimal. I kept a concentration of color around the outside of the flower. And then kept the center kind of lighter, which is actually kind of backwards from where you would want to add shadows and things if you were coloring with a different medium, but I personally like that look with the kind of light center, and then it kind of gets more intense as it goes out.
Okay.
So now I've laid, this is the second portion of the poppy and rose and berry stencil. This is the second layer, and I am just using, this is sparkling rose ink with another blending brush. I like Hero Arts blending brushes because they're white and they have, you have the ability to see which color you're working with. And I do have a lot of brushes that are, I have like a light version and a dark version for each color family.
And what number is that one, my friend? I apologize. Number 4?
I think it is, yes, stencil 4.
Okay, great. Sorry,
so we're just adding a little bit of shadow to this, to these pink images.
We have another question. So says my favorite moderator. Thank you so much, Heather. It says, what were you doing before you starting a family? Were you craft or art related, or were you doing something else in the industry?
I actually, I started crafting when my husband and I were trying to start a family because I needed something to take my mind off of things. But I actually have a master's degree in music. And so I was teaching private voice lessons at that point. And then we got pregnant with twins, and it was like, okay, well, paying childcare isn't going to, isn't very smart with, for 2 children with my salary. So I just ended up staying at home with them, which was wonderful. And I wouldn't trade that for the world. But my voice has kind of disappeared over the last 8 years. So singing isn't really, I love to sing, but I don't sound the way I used to for sure.
Yeah. So many people, go ahead. No, please.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, this is stencil 3.
That you've moved on to, because I'm on stencil 4 still. So
shall I wait for you?
No, please. You keep trucking. I'm on sparkling rose and learning from you as I go along. So that's great.
We're going to do peach fuzz.
Got it as the next third stencil. Great. I was a professional actor and voiceover actor here in Orlando on the side when I wasn't doing stuff for Mickey Mouse at Walt Disney World. And crafting came into my life, and I have really not, I've lost, it's so strange, but I've lost my confidence when it comes to auditioning or memorization of stuff. And I did it for so many years, so I have no idea what's wrong with me. I think the good news is that shows like this and connecting with each of the viewers is that keeps me connected to it all, you know. Oh gosh, Emily, that reveal is almost always so fun. Stencils are so magical. All right, definitely build your confidence, that's for sure. And remind me, we're moving to stencil number what? I'm sorry.
This is stencil number 3 for the, this is what Jeff was talking about. This is the ranunculus. Oh no, I did it backwards. Oh well, we'll have a little bit of a happy accident here. I'm not going to have any purple flowers this time. We've got all orange. I was going to do some fancy masking and things, but I got to chatting and lost my train of thought.
That's okay.
So that was peach fuzz. And then for our second layer, this is stencil number 5. The second layer will be apricot.
Some ranunculus. I love even saying it. I feel so smart.
There are some times that I'm afraid that I'm misidentifying flowers, but I know that one is a ranunculus. I don't have any botanical background, so I have to base my knowledge on Pinterest and wedding florists. So we're going to work with apricot now. And this is just going to add.
Are in Illinois. I'm sorry, just really quick.
Yes, we're in Southern Illinois. And I grew up in a larger area. I grew up right outside of St. Louis. So we had access to all different kinds of arts and music and things like that, which is how I got started with music. I did lots of camps and things. And when my husband and I got married, his job took us kind of to a much more rural area than I was used to. So crafting is also, it's great that it's all online because I don't have access to a lot of things like I used to.
Okay. Megan, I agree. These are so pretty. The stencils are amazing. You're right. Carissa shares that she wants to try a new embossing ink. What does everyone love? Been a long Versamark user here. Carissa's wondering if there are any other brands that people have fallen in love with. And Harmony Your Rose. Ranunculus does sound like a Trekkie species that would be discovered by the team on their voyages across the sky. Hey, the Prince of Crafting, Simon Hurley, is here. Simon is no longer chatting with me. He used to talk to me all the time, and now he's very famous and very busy. I never hear from him anymore. I hate when the kids grow up. All right, we're moving on. Remember, I'm one behind you. What number am I on for my apricot?
For the apricot, we were working with stencil number 5.
Perfect.
So sorry, I'm going too fast.
No, you remember our pep talk. Your job is everybody wants to see you do it. I'm just the guy in the race running behind you out of breath. It's fine. But that's your job. My job is to say stupid things about Princes of Crafting and Simon Hurley. That's my role. Let's see. Valerie says, Jeff, that looks great. Thank you. I've never tried WOW. Yeah, Cheryl, I hear that WOW might have a good blend. I enjoyed Tim Holtz's Ranger for a while. Ranger's smelled good too. It has a cinnamon taste, which is good. Chantal,
Amanda Panda
yes,
asked you, Jeff, if you're on IMDb.
Oh, no, no, I'm not that, but you could have definitely seen me in a lot of productions here in Orlando, and yeah, and because I'm bald and because I guess I look sinister sometimes, I always get the creepy, mean villains and uncles that are mean to the family members. And
I couldn't think of a less appropriate for your personality.
Yeah, it doesn't match, but I would often, that's how I got cast a lot of times, which is fine. All right, so that one was a quick one. That apricot, I'll have to get that center.
So now we're going to move on to, this is actually stencil 1. This is all of the greenery. So I am using mint ink for this one. And I have another blending brush in that color family, and I'm just going to add some color. These stencils really take the work, the hard work is done for you. You don't have to stress on these because the hard work is done for you.
Do you have to think, is that your job to think about the dimensionality of the stencil, or is your job just to create the image and then Kinnery and her teams take it from there? Like, take us behind the scenes a little bit when you are plotting an image like this.
So when I create an image, I do the line drawing and then I get approval and everything. And then I work up a color story for it, and I actually color the image. If I had easy access, I would show you the image that I sent her. I color it with my Copics basically, and they use that as a reference point for where to add shadows and shading to come up with the stencils. I don't have any graphic design background, so I don't have the slightest clue how on earth they do that. That is, I believe Ina is the talented mastermind behind that, lifting the layers for the stencils and everything. But I come up with the basic main colored image, and then they work from that to create the stencils. So I'm not worrying about shading beyond this point because we're going to cut that off. We're just adding stencils to the top portion.
Yes, Simon. Emily joins us today because she is definitely a creator, and that she created this products that we're using today. Yeah, you can see her name on a lot of Pinkfresh Studio products, but not just Pinkfresh. We're proud to represent our partners in crime, Hero Arts. Who else have you done? Altenew, you've done. Where else have you done,
I am currently working with Altenew. I have been on the Hero Arts team for a very long time. I love Hero Arts, and I'm working with Honeybee stamps. I've
love Honeybee too,
yes, Honeybee's wonderful. I'm so lucky to have been able to work with such wonderful companies.
Stencil 6 is going to be what color? The last one?
The one that I'm currently using is Stencil 6, and we are going to use Meadow ink. Okay. This is a little bit deeper minty green. So I'm just adding the shadows and details there.
Wendy, I agree. The design process is fascinating. I think in some ways, it's not our job to worry about it, but when you think about the mastery and the artistry behind it, you become definitely interested in the how, the why, and sort of what Emily and the design team would go through to bring us the products that we enjoy so much. So I agree. Yeah, and Megan, you're right. They're numbered, and so that helps Emily and I to know what order to go in. We purposefully went out of order today, which is why we've been counting out our numbers to each other, because we wanted to tell and evolve the story from a color perspective in a special order for today's live. But you could absolutely go in sequential order if you'd like.
The great thing about the Pinkfresh stencils is like I mentioned before, those brackets around the edge that you could use those as your guides, and you don't have to even mess with the stamp. The stamp is kind of superfluous sometimes with the final stenciled image, but especially with my designs are extremely detailed, which there's lots of detail that kind of gets lost sometimes with the if you just use the stencils with my designs. So that's why I like to especially use heat embossing with the stencils, because I feel like that just kind of pops a little bit more, but it's still a little bit of more of an artistic look than just a plain black and white image. So yeah. I am done with my
embossing, Emily. That embossing, Emily, is the secret. I mean, look at that. It gives just a beautiful dimensionality, and it tells the colors where to do their best work, I think. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I absolutely love that. And you're right. I think it's, I love the word you use, superfluous. It's not necessary, but my goodness, if you have the time to do it, your blending will just look, I just think it instructs the color so well, and it pulls the eye to the right places. I'm trying to demonstrate
absolutely
here on my camera.
So now I have a microfiber cloth. I'm wiping off any extra ink that might be left over from blending over the top of that embossing, because it does kind of, sometimes ink can stick to that embossing powder, but it's that's our finished image from there down. I didn't do the bottom portion.
Great.
So now I am going to take my trimmer, and I'm just going to trim right underneath the bottom of this poppy image. And then I'm going to use my sharp scissors to do some fussy cutting.
Emily, before you do that, the team would love to see you a little closer. Can you just hold it up to your camera, the image, just to see your detail?
I already trimmed it, sorry.
No, that's okay. And then I'm going to want to see that cut line one more time so I can see where you'd like for me to cut.
Right beneath the largest flower, that large pink poppy, we're going to cut right there.
Got it. And you don't care, it's not a specific measurement, it's just a general, right?
Nope. Just however much fussy cutting you want to do.
Got it. It seems like a crime, my friend, but here we go.
Be ruthless.
Cut. Okay, she was cut. And as you can see, a lighter hand, I went a little heavy on ballet slipper, but as you can see with Emily's, that lighter hand definitely gives a balance. Maybe mine were just out in the sun a little bit longer and had different nutrients. That's what I'm going to tell myself.
Different soil.
Yeah, different soil. All right, let me come back on camera and say hi to everybody for just a second and make sure that we're doing okay while we fussy cut. And then I'm going to try to catch up and fussy cut with Miss Emily. Hey, everybody, you are watching the Craft Hour, but it would help if the camera turned on. We don't have a camera. It's fine. All right. Let's not do that, camera. Let's go back to my desktop and I'll fussy cut and wonder why the camera's not turning on. But let's check in with how we have 130 of you watching. I hope that you're sharing and connecting with everybody and letting everybody know that you're watching the show. That would be fantastic. And then we're also taking a quick moment to give a thumbs up. Make sure that you say hello and connect via social media with a thumbs up, etc. And I promise that I will get my camera shot back. It's so strange. All right, so we're fussy cutting around. We're just basically, there are going to be some white spots. Show me that it's inevitable not to have a few, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. We're just the main thing that I want to have the detail on is this top portion where these little kind of sprigs are kind of popping up. And then right here on this edge right here around the poppy, that's those are going to be where the details are most visible. But don't worry about like in between here. There's no way that we could get that much detail with fussy cutting. And having cut the bottom portion off makes the fussy cutting easier, less time consuming. But so there's our finished image.
I'm not totally panicking about fussy cutting. It's fine. When Emily told me about it, I was like, okay, you're totally gonna fussy cut live on camera. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Fussy cutting is a lot easier. This is a tip that Jennifer McGuire shared in one of her videos a long time ago. If you hold your scissors straight and move your image, it makes the fussy cutting, you get a little bit better control with your, so instead of moving my right wrist with my scissors, I'm turning the image as I go, which I feel like gives me a little bit better control.
Totally does. Show me that where the berries are, how you fussy cut around those. Can you? Okay. Okay. We're fine. We're fine, everybody. We're not going to panic. Everything is great.
No panicking.
Yep. Don't have time for that. Totally thinking about the camera right now, but it is all good. I promised that I would not panic for Emily, so I'm not going to panic. I'm going to get my camera back.
You're doing great.
And frankly, you all need to see this, not my face. I just wanted to check in with each of you and let you know that I was watching and saying hi to each of you. And I wanted to connect and make sure you all knew we were thinking of you. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Of course, my guest today, Emily Midgett, creator and designer from Illinois, who has taken a pandemic by storm by adding 2 twins into her life, a second pair of twins, and a new love of floral art design and stamp illustration, which is awesome.
Lisa asked, there's no dye for this. No, there is no dye for this, as far as I know. If you email Kinnery and let her know that you'd like one, maybe she'll add one.
Definitely not, my friend. We would be using a dye if we could. That's why we're fussy cutting today.
Absolutely. Catherine asked if I'm leaving a border around each flower. I am leaving a little bit. It's, I don't even know, maybe a 1/16 of an inch border. And I'm not too bothered about keeping it perfectly even. I just want to leave a little bit of white space, just because if I get too close to that silver embossing, I might slip and cut some of the embossing off, and I don't want to do that. And because we're going to do white on white here, it's not super important that I leave the most perfectly balanced border around each section, because it is going to be layered on a piece of white cardstock, so you won't notice it as much.
Great. All right. So what is up next, my friend?
Next, we're going to work on the card base. I have the diagonal stitched plaid. This is one of the Pinkfresh background dyes, and it's one I love adding just a slight little bit of texture to my background. When I have really brightly colored florals like this, I think having that kind of tone on tone, just a little bit of subtle texture in the background is just enough. If that's all you need when you have really detailed flowers. So
Everybody wants to ask us really quick about our Fiskars and if we appreciate this type of apparatus for cutting. Do you have a commentary on that really quick while I catch up to you?
I never will use a different kind of scissors for fussy cutting ever again. I tried I have some little Martha Stewart scissors that are about this long. These work perfectly. I think they take a lot of the pressure off of your hand for fussy cutting. Are we good?
It's just me. I'm trying to fix my camera. Your shot is gorgeous and everybody can see it.
Okay,
my
great.
shot that's messed up.
I was afraid I did something.
Nope, you're good.
No, these are wonderful scissors, and you can tell by how dingy and gross they look that how much I love them. And I think they might come in a pretty kind of a tealy pool color now too, according to Amazon. So I've taped this die down to make sure that my corners are straight. And I'm going to run this through my die cut machine.
Great. And I am too. And it is perfect for adding just a little bit of dimensionality to our card, which is awesome. Thanks for joining, everybody. Krista loves Emily's nail polish, which is great. Cheryl loves this background die that we're using. It is one of my favorites too. Gosh, we love that dimension. That's fantastic. Okay, great.
So now we have our background. I am going to also do some die cutting. So what I would like to do is cover up this seam. I think it makes it look a little bit more polished, and it looks kind of like the flowers are kind of sprouting from a garden or something. At least in my brain, that's how I conjured that image. So what I have here these are the Lacy Edgers 1. And these dies are great for adding just a little bit of extra something to your card front. Let's see, I think I used this one for my sample. So this is a 3/4 inch wide piece of cardstock, which is a little bit larger than the one that I used in my sample, but I want to make sure that we can get the foam tape on there easily. So I'm just doing my best to line it up and try to get it straight.
And I am making a little bit of a quick adjustment because I did not have that border, which is fine. And I'm going to improv really quick and draw some ink to paper. Or apply, is what I'm trying to say. And then I will do some strips. Sorry for the radio silence. We'll be right back with y'all.
I have my die cut here ready to go while Jeff is working on his. I do have these little bitty bits on the edge here that are going to drive me nuts. So I'm going to use my scissors, and just kind of trim those off a little bit, kind of round that out. That would annoy me to leave that on there.
Great, and I'm going to do one more. We're going to check on time, 15 minutes to go. It becomes sort of like the Great British Bake Off, Emily, here towards the end. So fear not, we're doing everything right.
I'm hearing that intense music in my head now.
Yeah, or the judges saying 5 minutes makers.
Yep.
And while I have everybody, I've been trying to say it on the show. I think I've said it only once. NBC is making it with the amazing Nick Offerman and Amy Poehler. I hope everybody's watching and supporting that show. Now in season 3, unbelievable feel-good show. And definitely designed for crafters. Emily, have you ever seen it before?
I watched season 1. I watched some of season 1, but things have gotten a little busy since then.
Yeah,
I don't watch a whole lot of TV.
But...
Yeah, I'm just kind of sitting around eating bonbons a lot.
Yeah, that's all you do all day long.
Yep.
Yep, I know. All right. Have you already done a card base, my friend? I'm a little bit
I don't, I
not yet.
actually, I kind of cheat and I don't really put these on card bases until I'm ready to send them. But I
Okay,
do
got
have
it.
some Hero Arts card bases that are all ready to go here. So I'll just grab one of those. It saves me on storage, not having a card base on every single card that I make, because I make a lot.
Sure. When it's the gig, you probably have quite a bit.
Yes. So
And
there's my card
thanks.
base.
And thanks everybody for the recommendation on the camera. I will unplug and plug it one more time because I would like to say hi to y'all one more time before the show is ending. We will keep going. Let's see what everybody's saying. Haven't seen it, Lisa. I would definitely encourage you to check it out. It is a lot of fun. We're also using the Lots of Love by Anna. Am I saying that correctly? You're on calls probably with her more than I am.
I believe it's Ina.
Ina.
Or Ina.
Ina.
I'm honestly not sure. It's such a beautiful name.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
I should ask more.
Remind me how you did yours really quick. I know you did yours before the show. Did you do it on a white base? How did you do yours?
This is just the same. I'm kind of paranoid about my whites matching. I'm very persnickety about that. This is the same white cardstock that I used for the rest of the card. It's just Nina 80 pound. And then this is Hero Arts glitter cardstock. I believe this is the holiday sparkle pack. There's a few different packs. This has gold and silver in it. And I thought this would highlight the silver embossing nicely to add the silver. But this die is a little bit fussy. So I did it ahead of time just to make sure that I got everything straight. Now with this image, it does cut off. When I drew it, it was much larger. And then when they were creating it into a stamp form, it got kind of cut off a little bit. So I want to try to hide that since I am wanting to highlight the rest of the background as well. So I'm trying to hide these little spots where it's cut off. So the way I do that, I have this side butting up against the edge of the card base. And then I'm going to cover this seam where it's cut off right here. I'm going to cover that with our die cut. So you have to be sneaky sometimes with card making. And this is my sneaky addition to this card.
And
so I'm just going to add
glittering it up with some Concord and Ninth paper, and I will get the sentiment going as well.
So I'm just going to add some foam tape to my border die. This is Altenew foam tape, but this is, you could use whatever brand is your favorite. And I'm kind of stingy with my foam tape, so I like to cut it and then cut it in half because I am stingy. I want to make it last. So I'm going to cut it into about thirds.
Oh my goodness, you were right. These guys are individual.
Yes.
That is why you did it before the show. All right, friends, your host is officially going to cry uncle and say that he will not get this sentiment done in time for us to see it on the show, but I promise that it'll appear on Instagram. Your host should have made this like our designer did and pre-made it. So there you go. All right, let me see if I got my shot back. Let's look.
So one more tip I have for using foam tape. I am going to put some liquid adhesive on the back of my foam tape because I am very persnickety about making sure that things are straight on my card front. And with this diagonal or with this die that has these nice straight lines on it, embossed in or debossed into it, I want to make sure that my border here is nice and straight. So I'm going to add a little bit of liquid adhesive on the back, and that gives me a little bit of grace when it comes to adding my, I'm not stuck in just that one position. with the foam tape. You can see I can kind of manipulate it a little bit until the glue dries. Hold that up.
Emily, I'm going to give you the camera shot for just a second so that you can, they can see a little bit more intimately. And I'm going to try to fix my camera while you're chatting.
Okay.
But again, nothing on your end. You were doing everything perfectly.
Thank you for the reassurance that I didn't break something.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to add this using some more liquid glue. This is just our finished fussy cut image. And I'm going to add this right up. I'm going to butt this right up against my border die cut, just to make it look like it's kind of almost like the flowers are exploding out of a garden or something like that. That's how I'll think of it in my head.
Yeah.
We're going to butt this up against here.
You definitely, you do get that sense with that border die. It does help pop tremendously.
Is your camera working now?
No, well, I mean, they can see the desktop, but I'm having a hard time bringing my face camera back up, which has actually never happened on the show, which is the reason why I'm not troubleshooting it very well. But again, that's fine. We'll yank the one out of the wall and we'll keep going. Let me do that really quick. Get ready we're going to be seasick for just a second, everybody. We're going to be seasick, but it's fine. It's very glamorous around here, Emily. We're professionals. Hi, everybody. I hope that you're having fun. I hope I'm looking at the right camera angle. You're watching the Craft Hour, and we're having technical issues with a camera that has never had an issue before. So, hey, it wouldn't be Craft Hour without a little bit of issues. We have an amazing guest. Emily Midgett is with us. Emily is showcasing a new. Is this new? Actually, did it just come out? It just got to me, so it's pretty new for me.
I believe it came out a few months ago. I think it came out earlier this summer.
Okay, awesome.
Things go into pre-production a lot. It takes a lot longer for things to actually get released than I draw them. So I'm not entirely sure exactly when it was released.
Sure. Luann Ford says that she loves the layout. Teresa shares that it is so pretty. I agree. That's awesome. And again, a lot of compliments on your nails, which is great. We love the dimension that we've got. We wouldn't be friends with Laura Basson if we didn't pop that sentiment up, a glitter image, and then it will tie nicely to the embossing borders that are on the shot. And again, I'm so sorry that you are all having to look at me this way. Kelly, thank you for seeing me. I feel seen. I feel extremely close up, but I've got to hand hold it as we close the show out and get the card finished. It has been a great stream, even with the tech issues. Amanda, you're always so kind to us. Thank you so much. Luann Ford has it and she loves it. We have a lot of Jennifer McGuire groupies. Don't forget, Jennifer's been on the show. You can check a replay on that. We'd love to see you. Hey, Miss Heather, I think it's almost time for us to do a giveaway, but to hit that giveaway, we have 142 people watching. Let's see if we can get our thumbs up at least over to 100. So right now, jump on that thumbs up. Just give us a smash on the thumbs up. Let's get it up to 100, and then we will get you a gift card today and get going on a little gift card giveaway, which our moderator in the sky will pick. Our scrapbook.com partners say this has been a fun craft hour. I'm glad that it's been fun. That's been awesome. Those stencils and a floral design make it super easy. Nicole Brown says, you were fine. Life happens. Thanks, Nicole. I just hope that when I'm working for my friends at Pinkfresh, it's a little more professional than this, but hey, at least you got an image of me. That's good. Let's say, I blame every issue on COVID. Yes, Kelly. Yes, that is true. Let's just blame COVID on everything. We've got a top and bottom card, top side folding card debate going on, which is good. What questions do you have for Emily as she wraps up her card? She'll be heading back on camera as soon as she finishes, but she's got to finish that card because I certainly didn't get a chance to finish it. But what an easy, beautiful way to make high impact. Hello, camera in the face, which is good. Michelle, I agree. This is an amazing card design and a showcase how dimensionality can really make a perfect Pinkfresh Studio card come to life, which is great. Thumbs up is to 105 already. I agree. So it must be all of you doing a lot of hard work. That means it's giveaway time. Emily's wrapping up the card. Look at that. It has just a pop to it. And she's going to pop it up just a little bit more with some jewels. Show us, you're going to use some Pinkfresh jewels on that, right?
Yes, I am. I have
Got
the
it.
Essentials Jewel Kit here, and I'm going to add some of these kind of buttery yellow to go with our buttery yellow flowers here.
Perfect. Andrea would like to know what kind of foam tape you're a fan of when you are doing your dimensionalizing.
I use Altenew foam tape quite a lot. I used to use the Scotch brand foam tape, but it's gotten very stiff and the adhesive isn't the best. So I like the Altenew foam tape personally.
Yeah, that's great. So, hey, they did their part, Emily. So we've got to give away a gift card. So
Yay!
We got over 100, got 140 people watching, and we have gotten over 111 thumbs up, probably because Emily Midgett's on the show. A lot of love. So let's give a gift card out to Megan Elric. Megan, hey friend, you won a gift card where you can get the stamp set and lots of others. Lots of fun promotions going on. Be sure to check our Instagram feed for details about what's available, when, why, how, and at what great deal, which is awesome. It's so pretty, Emily. I came in late to this live stream and it's fun to catch the tail end. Well, I'm so glad that you made it though. That's the important part. And typically my camera shots are better than a handheld camera, but that's what we do when we host shows live on the air. Are you able to do a little more close-up of your card? Yes. So Emily, as soon as she does her jewel application, we'll hold it up. She wanted to get some jewels on there. We'll do that before the end of the show. Steph, did you drop the kit? What happened? Carissa says, I agree, the assessment of the Scotch brand. So Scotch is needing to catch up with us a little bit. Carissa shares, they've changed it and I'm not a fan of it anymore. Wow. Okay. Good to know.
Agreed.
Lynn says, it was nice to meet you, Emily. We often do not know the designers and how they become stencils and dies. You definitely showcased a behind the scenes moment we've wanted to know about, which is good. And then Nicole is going to ask Heather about any status on the ink cubes. Let me give you a full shot and get my face out of the way so they can see this lovely card up close before you come back to a face shot, and we will close out the show. So let me pin you and take me out. Look at that.
Lots and lots of sparkle, lots of shine, but still kind of keeping it simple with all that white on white. My favorite thing.
Just perfect. All right, my friend, I'll take you off gallery view and we'll get you back into the show. And I will pin myself in this beautiful shot that we have here. Let's see. Look at that. Look how quick she's approached. You need to be the new co-host of Craft Hour, my friend. Tell everybody what you were saying about the amount of times you have talked and used Zoom even over the next 18 months when we were rehearsing. What did you say?
One of the perks of being a stay-at-home mom and not really having a job is that I've only had to use Zoom 3 times over the last 18 months. So I'm not super adept at Zoom, but I'm learning, hopefully.
Yeah. Imagine if you were still a singer, you'd be doing your auditions and classes over Zoom and having to
Some of my
self-tape.
friends have been teaching voice lessons over Zoom. I cannot even imagine.
Yeah, well,
there's so much
audio,
that you get being in person that it's just, I can't imagine.
Yeah, the audio delay alone for the music. My husband is a elementary school music teacher, and during pandemic teaching, it was quite challenging in some ways. Valerie, thank you so much. We love Val. Val, you're always with us. We are so excited to have you. Let's see. I was late. I was late too. Teresa, don't worry. That's the whole point of a replay. That's the best part. Scrapbook.com says, thanks for an inspiring hour, Jeff, Emily, and Pinkfresh. It's always good to have scrapbook.com here. Carol says she still hasn't figured out Zoom, so worry not, which is great. Emily, remind everybody where they can find you besides your designs. We know we can shop you, but tell everybody where they can find you on socials and on YouTube, etc.
Well, my YouTube kind of has fallen a little bit by the wayside. My house is not very quiet for filming videos often. So, yep. But I am very active on Instagram. My blog is always a good way to find me. I do have a Facebook page, but it's not super, it's basically the same things that I post on Instagram.
Yeah,
But Instagram and my blog are my best ways to get a hold of me. It's emilymidgett.com
perfect.
and just
Well,
EA
Emily,
Midgett on Instagram.
yeah, and be sure to connect and follow us both. We love to interact with all of our new crafty friends. We were talking before the show that, while geographic spaces kind of divide us, the craft community definitely unites on social media. So it's always good to connect and showcase each other and get new followers and engage. I'm always blown away by the followers that I should have been paying attention to. So please connect, have great conversations because it helps Emily and I get to know you even just a little bit more. And I personally love it. And I know Emily was saying that she grows from it too. We were saying, Emily, that friendships have definitely formed over these years in the craft community,
Absolutely.
even digitally, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Just
Well,
because you know someone just from Instagram doesn't mean that they're not your friend.
that's true.
You care about each other, and it works both ways. It's a wonder. Instagram is one of my favorite places.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And we all suffer when it's down. All right.
Yes.
Well, to my moderator in the sky, Heather, thanks for reporting the storm. I hope that you had fun with us. Be sure again to check out all of her videos as well as Leah's and their World Card Making Day video that's available on YouTube, a definite celebration of all things Pinkfresh, as well as the holiday that we just celebrated, which is awesome. And I'm going to go fix a camera, have a little bit of lunch, say hi to Hazel Harper, and enjoy my afternoon. Emily, what do you have coming up next? Mom mode returns?
Well, my husband has the kids, and then when they come back, it's nap time. So, mom mode in the craft room.
I love it. Good for you. Thanks, everybody, for a great afternoon with Craft Hour. We'll see you next time. More schedules to be published soon with our next guest being revealed just as soon as we can. Have a great afternoon, and thanks for creating and connecting with us. We'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.